How's it going, everyone? It's been some time since we did a mock draft. It's been about a month, and the NFL draft's only a few days away, so I thought it'd be a good time to do a couple final mock drafts before we find out how it turns out. The last month has been really hectic with my full-time job, so that's why there haven't really been that many YouTube videos. I know a lot of people have been asking me where have the YouTube videos been, but YouTube's my second job. I have a full-time job with SB Nation where I, cover the Dodgers, cover the Clippers, cover the Raiders. So that's been taking a lot of my time, but I am back today for a mock draft video. I really want to get to one because this draft looks like it's going to be insane. It looks like it's going to be really hectic. I have no clue after picks 1 and 2 what's going to happen, so I thought it'd be fun to go over what I think might happen, what I hope happens. So again, we're doing this on Monday, so the draft's 3 days away. A lot can change between now and then, but as of right now, as of April 26th, this is how I think the NFL draft might go, and of course, that means all but my first 2 or 3 picks are going to be completely wrong, but that's what's so fun about doing these mock drafts. Again, I posted this in my last video, but in case you missed it, this Thursday during the NFL draft, I'm actually going to be going live on YouTube for a special episode of the Harris Highlight Show. We're pretty much going to be having guests on. We're going to be having reporters on. We're going to be having players that are currently in the NFL on. We're going to be bringing on fans of the channel, of the show, to talk about their team making picks. Essentially what it's going to be is we're not going to be going the entire draft, but we're just going to be live during the NFL draft talking about the picks, making our predictions, drinking some alcohol, just having a really good time. So if you're interested in watching a live stream during the draft, watching me get absolutely drunk, tune in this Thursday live during the NFL draft, live on my YouTube channel. If you would like to potentially come on the show either when your team is picking or after your team picked and grade that selection, we would love to have you. We'd actually like to have a fan of every team potentially hop on the show and analyze the pick, because I'm a Saints fan. The guys on the show, we got a Colts fan, we got a Rams fan, and a Seahawks fan. So only 4 out of 32 teams, and the Rams and Seahawks don't even have a first round pick. So we like to have as many analysts as possible analyzing their team selection. So if you have any interest in joining the live stream and again talking about your team's draft selection, hit me up on Twitter at Blake H. Harris or at Blake Harris TBLA. I have 2 separate Twitter accounts, and let me know if you want to come on the show and we can see if there's a way to get you on. We already have some people for certain teams, so again, if you're a fan of a certain team, we might not be able to get you on, but I'll see what I can do. So again, if you want to hop on the show and talk about your team's pick, hit me up on Twitter and we'll try to get you on. So without further ado, let's get to this draft. And the first 2 picks, I don't even really have to waste time on it. Trevor Lawrence, the easiest number 1 pick, at least in my lifetime. I mean, he's a surefire slam dunk pick. I think he's going to be a really good prospect. And the Jags have already, given him wedding gifts, and Trevor Lawrence has already donated to Jacksonville charities. So Trevor Lawrence, he's going to be the pick there. The next pick, I'm not going to say it's a 100% chance. I'm going to say it's like a 99.3% chance, and that's going to be Zach Wilson. Personally, I don't have Zach Wilson as my quarterback 2. I was high on him last year. I thought that he was underrated. I thought he was getting a lot of bad rap for playing bad teams. I don't know about the Jets going all in on Zach Wilson. Again, I like him. I don't know about number 2. This is where the draft's going to get interesting in number 3 with the 49ers. Now, right before I started this video, I was going to be going a different direction, but now I'm going to be going the direction I think is going to happen. When they made this trade a couple weeks ago, they did it because they wanted to pick Mac Jones. And the last few weeks, it looks like they've kind of been questioning whether or not they want to go with the Mac Jones route. I guess there was a report the other day that said that they were down between Mac Jones and Trey Lance, and I was thinking Trey Lance was going to be the pick because you made this trade to get Mac Jones. So why all of a sudden now are you saying, well, actually it's between Mac Jones and Trey Lance, meaning either there's something they didn't really necessarily like with Mac Jones, or there was something they really liked with Trey Lance. But hearing all these different things that have been coming out about how the 49ers are looking for a starting quarterback, they're looking for someone that fits their system, I think Mac Jones is the pick. Again, I personally don't know about taking Mac Jones with the 3rd overall pick. I mean, look where he's ranked here on these player rankings. He has a chance to be a really good quarterback. I think he's more NFL ready than Trey Lance is, but I think he fits the 49ers better, and again, they made the trade to get him, so I think they're going to play it safe. I think they're going to go with Mac Jones in number 3, and again, this is where the draft, all hell can break loose, because we got the Falcons picking here at 4. The Falcons, they don't necessarily need a quarterback. They have Matt Ryan. It wouldn't hurt to pick a quarterback and have him sit under Matt Ryan for a couple of years. There's some really good players here on the board, and I wouldn't be shocked if teams trade up with the Falcons to get to this number 4 pick. I wouldn't be shocked at all. But when you got a talent like Kyle Pitts sitting there, the Falcons, they could really use a tight end. And I think the Falcons, they're a team that they have a chance to make the playoffs this upcoming year if everyone stays healthy. So I think Kyle Pitts, he's a generational talent at tight end. Again, they really need a tight end because the Hayden Hurst experiment just didn't necessarily work. So I think come draft night, this pick's going to be traded because I think a team's going to want to trade up to either get Trey Lance or Justin Fields. But it's going to be tough for the Falcons to pass up, again, when you got a guy like Kyle Pitts there. So I got them going Kyle Pitts at number 4. Now, this is another one where I think the Bengals, I've been saying this for months and months, this seems like the obvious pick. Penei Sewell, I think you got to get Joe Burrow protection. I know there are some reports now that the Bengals might want to be going wide receiver, and it's tough to pass up when you got guys like Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith. Those are all good options, but you can get some really good wide receivers in the second and even in the third round. You can't get a guy that has a chance to be a Hall of Famer in Penei Sewell, where I think this guy's the real deal. He's the best offensive tackle prospect I've seen in the last decade. I think he has a chance to make multiple Pro Bowls. So again, you got to protect Burrow. He's your franchise quarterback. Get him some of the best help you can, and you got to take Penei Sewell there. Now we get to the Dolphins. They're picking at 6. They need a wide receiver. So I mean, if they're staying here, they obviously go with either Jalen Waddle or they go with Devontae Smith or Jamar Chase. But I think the Dolphins, we've seen them trade multiple times, and I think the Dolphins are going to trade out of this number 6 pick because they have a chance to trade back, and they can still get one of these really good wide receivers here. So I think the Dolphins actually are going to trade out of this number 6 spot, which brings us to the question of who are they going to trade with. The Lions, I could see them trading up to get to number 6 to get a quarterback. Supposedly the Panthers have interest in getting a quarterback, even though they have Sam Darnold, so I'm not necessarily certain whether or not to buy into those rumors. The Broncos, they really need a quarterback. I don't think that Drew Lock is the answer whatsoever. The Patriots, there's been talk of the Patriots hopping up from 15 to get a quarterback, and a sneaky team that I really like to make a move. I like the Washington football team at 19. It is going to be a lot for them to go from 19 into the top 8 or 9 to get a quarterback, but keep your eye on Washington. Get a quarterback, develop them under Ryan Fitzmagic, and see what happens. So who is going to trade with the Dolphins at 6 to get a quarterback right here? And I'm honestly going to go with the Denver Broncos. I think the Broncos are going to want to trade up, and I think the Broncos are going to want to get Justin Fields. All right, so we're going to swap 6 for 9, and again, you're moving up 3 picks, but it's probably going to cost a lot because you're going to want to get your quarterback of the future here. So we're going to throw in the 3rd round pick from the Broncos this year, and we'll go to 2022. We'll throw in a 2nd round pick just to sweeten the deal, and we'll send this offer in right now. And the Broncos have accepted the offer. Again, I don't know exactly what it's going to cost the Broncos to move up to 6. It might cost a lot more than that. It might not, but that's what I got. And again, I think the Broncos, I think they trade up to get Justin Fields, who can be a difference maker in year 1, have a quarterback battle between him and Drew Lock. Again, I don't think Drew Lock is the answer. I like Justin Fields a lot more, and the Broncos get their quarterback. Up next, we got the Lions picking at 7. Again, they could go quarterback here, but for them, they desperately need a wide receiver. They have Jared Goff for at least a couple more years. Maybe go quarterback next year, or maybe go quarterback in the later rounds. You need a wide receiver 1 for this team moving forward because their options that they currently have, those aren't it. So now it's just a matter of who do you think the best option is at the wide receiver position. I know a lot of people are really high on Jalen Waddle. I get that, but I like Jamar Chase a lot more. So I got the Lions going with Jamar Chase, which brings us to the Carolina Panthers. Again, they can go quarterback, but I think they traded for Sam Darnold for a reason. I think Sam Darnold actually can be pretty good in that Carolina offense, so I don't see them going quarterback. Again, they could go a bunch of different directions. You see the different needs they have, but get Sam Darnold some help. And Retron Slater, this is a guy, if it wasn't for Penei Sewell, he'd be the consensus easy number 1 offensive lineman prospect in this draft. There are people out there are draft experts that actually have Slater above Sewell, which I don't necessarily understand, but again, I'm not a draft insider, so I'm not going to get behind that. But I think Slater's a really good prospect. Again, you got to get Sam Darnold protection. You already have a really good offense. We know that last year the Panthers went all in on their defense in the draft. So again, give him some protection, build that offensive line. And again, Slater, I think, is a really, really good pick. And we have the Dolphins now picking at 9. Again, they were going to go wide receiver at pick 3 initially when they had that pick. They were going to go wide receiver at pick 6, which again, they still very well can hold that 6th pick and go wide receiver anyway. But they now trade back. They're getting more picks, and they still have a lot of good wide receivers on the board. I think they go Jalen Waddle here. Again, a lot of people have him as the wide receiver 1 in this draft. Reunite Waddle with Tua and get yourself a really, really good wide receiver. And again, the Dolphins, what a job they've been doing with all these draft pick trades they've been making. Because again, they would have been taking a wide receiver at 3 anyway, and now they're stocking up on multiple firsts, multiple seconds to get, again, who could potentially be the wide receiver 1 anyway. This pick seems like a fairly easy one for the Cowboys. You have to to assume they're going to be going corner. I know Caleb Farley, I think he's ranked pretty highly on both these, but I don't know if they're taking into account his back surgeries, which do scare me. I did like him slightly more than Surtain, but these surgeries do kind of scare me. So Patrick Surtain, I think you make the pick there. I think he's a really good corner. I think he has a chance to be a Pro Bowl type corner. Again, it seems like an easy pick for Dallas, so you got to go with Surtain there at number 10, which brings us to the New York Giants picking at number 11. This Giants pick is a really interesting one. I know it says that they need a wide receiver, which, again, I wouldn't be shocked if they go, but I really like the addition of Kenny Golladay this offseason. I think he's a solid addition, so I don't think you need to go offense necessarily right there so early on. In regards to edge, I do like Kwity Paye a lot. I like Jalen Phillips, but I don't know if necessarily they're guys that you can take at pick 11. There are some cornerbacks I really do like. Again, Caleb Farley, he's a great prospect, but the back injuries really do kind of scare me. I like J.C. Horn. He's been climbing up a lot of draft boards. I think he's a solid talent out of South Carolina. So if you're the Giants, again, it really depends on what you think about Caleb Farley and these surgeries. So I think they go between these two, but if I were to make the pick, Farley's just too risky for me, so I actually would go J.C. Horn right here at pick number 11. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, this pick is an absolute no-brainer. For some reason, they thought it was a great idea to take Jalen Reagor last year as opposed to Justin Jefferson. Don't necessarily understand that, but now you can get a solid wide receiver. You can get the Heisman Trophy winner, who again, in a lot of other years, would be the wide receiver one off the board. Devontae Smith, he's a great talent. You got to get Jalen Hurts some weapons, so Devontae Smith, hopefully this is a year where the Eagles, they land on a really good wide receiver pick. And hey, if Jalen Reagor develops and you can get a really good Devontae Smith, that's a solid wide receiver duo for the future. But for the Eagles, I think it's a fairly easy call to go wide receiver. If you're the Chargers sitting here at 13, the ideal situation would be that Penei Sewell or Retron Slater somehow fall to you at 13, but I don't think, well, I mean, there's a chance that Slater actually might fall to 13. I don't think that'd be too far-fetched. But if you're sitting here, offensive line is clearly the direction you got to go. Christian Darrisaw, this is a guy where I really did like his tape that I watched. He's a guy in a lot of other years. He'd potentially be one of the first offensive linemen taken in the draft, but he's got some pretty good ones ahead of him. You got to protect Justin Herbert, and I think that the Chargers, for the most part, are a playoff team already. They had a lot of injuries last year, so again, not the sexy, exciting pick you want to make, but again, you got to protect your quarterback at Justin Herbert, who's going to be a franchise quarterback for years to come. And again, Darrisaw's a really good prospect, so you go with him there. Again, hope that Slater or Sewell somehow fall to 13, which again won't happen, but Darrisaw's not a bad backup option as well. I think the Vikings, I think this is another fairly easy pick for them. You got to protect Kirk Cousins, got to protect Dalvin Cook, and get yourself a really good offensive lineman. And there's one, Elijah Vera Tucker. I initially had him kind of going in like the early mid-20s a couple weeks ago, but this guy has been flying up draft boards, and I think that there's a chance he might even go earlier than 14, but I think he's the perfect pick here for the Vikings at 14. I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, not a very exciting pick, not a sexy pick, but I think it's an overall smart pick, and I think the Vikings, I think this is the direction they go. It just seems like a perfect fit, these two, so I got them going with Elijah Vera Tucker, which, how about this? I got the Patriots. They're sitting here at 15, and I do have a quarterback still on the board in Trey Lance. The way this draft has gone so far, obviously I have Trey Lance sitting here at 15 just because a lot of this stuff didn't make sense. I don't want to go just too in depth and make just a whole lot of trades because anything could happen on draft night. I don't think that Trey Lance is going to be here at 15. I don't think any of these top 5 quarterbacks are going to be sitting here at 15. I think that, the Patriots, the Washington football team, hell, maybe even the Raiders, if a quarterback falls to 8, 9, or 10, I think they're going to trade up. I don't think there's any way they risk sitting and hoping they fall to them. So again, I don't think necessarily Trey Lance is going to fall to 15, but I wouldn't be shocked if he somehow finds himself on the Patriots. Again, whether they trade up to 10, whether they trade up to 4, whether they trade up to 5, but I think Trey Lance or again Justin Fields, I think one of those two ends up a New England Patriot. So Patriots, you get lucky, you somehow sit back, you get Trey Lance at 15, but like I said, I just think a lot of these teams, they're not going to want to take a chance and hold back. They're going to want to trade up, and they're going to want to get one of these top-tier quarterbacks. But wouldn't that be something to the Patriots of all teams? they sit back at 15, they don't make a move, and they get the quarterback that they potentially could have traded up to 4 to get anyway. So it's going to be exciting to see how these quarterbacks go off the board, but I got Trey Lance going at 15 to the Patriots. All right, so we got the Cardinals sitting here at 16. Now, they obviously have a need at corner, and I think this is where the run for Caleb Farley comes to an end. Again, this is a guy that could be a top 10 pick. He's the number 7 ranked player on these player rankings, and again, if teams don't really view his second back surgery as a red flag, he's not going to be on the board at 16. But if you're the Cardinals and you can get a guy of his talent there, I think this is a no-brainer. I think he has a chance to be a phenomenal cornerback in the league, assuming he's able to stay healthy. So I think this is where the fall ends for Farley. And again, it'd be a great fit there in Arizona. The Raiders at 17. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, for my full-time job with SB Nation, I actually cover the Raiders, so I pretty much know exactly what's been going on with them. I have no clue what to make of them. I have no idea what they're gonna I have no idea what route they're gonna go, because the Raiders, they make picks where they don't care about rankings. They don't care about these rankings at all. If there's a player they like that's ranked 93 or 92, they're going to take him in the first round. They're going to go with the guys they like. So I wouldn't be shocked if the Raiders just go out of left field and take a player that none of us had in the first round. When you have certain talent on the board, again, like the way this draft board's fallen, it's going to be tough to see them passing that up. I could see them going two ways. I could see them going offensive line, and I could see them going with Tevin Jenkins out of Oklahoma State. I think he's a really good prospect, but I think there are some players, especially down this list, who are some really good guys you get in the second round that I could see them trading up for. And when you got a guy like Micah Parsons, who, again, is ranked number 8 here, I know he has kind of off-the-field concerns. This is a guy where, coming into the season last year, he seemed like a consensus top 6, top 8, top 10 draft pick. He's the best linebacker in this class, 100%, I think. I think he'd fit the Raiders really well. So my gut is that they go offensive line, but I think the smarter pick here, especially if Micah Parsons is sitting there at 17, you got to go with him. You can't pass up that talent. And again, take an offensive lineman in the second round. So I got the Raiders here at pick 17 going with Micah Parsons. And now we got the Dolphins. They're picking again. They can go a number of different directions, but I think for them, edge is the smart move. I don't agree with taking a running back this early. Linebacker, I mean, if Micah Parsons is still there at 18, I could see them going that route, but in this case, he's not. So Kwity Paye, I think he's the best edge prospect in this class, where again, he's ranked here at number 10. You're getting him at pick 18. If you're the Dolphins, I wouldn't be shocked if they trade out of this pick and rack up more selections, but they stay here. I really like the Kwity Paye pick. Again, probably the best edge prospect in this class, so I'm going to go with him there. All right, now things get really interesting for the Washington football team here at 19 because I really want them to go quarterback. I want them to trade up and get a quarterback because that's what they need the most. I think that's the direction they need to go, but if they're still sitting here at 19, I just don't really know. Their defense is so good. Their defense is really good. So obviously they don't need to go there with pick 19. I don't think they could upgrade the offensive line. I mean, last year, Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, Alex Smith, they were just getting, it seemed like they had no protection. It seemed like within 1 or 2 seconds they were already getting sacked. So you definitely can build on the offensive line. I wouldn't be shocked if they go wide receiver, add more weapons for Ryan Fitzmagic, whoever the quarterback's going to be for the future. I really like the weapons they already have there. But again, if you want to go safe, again, I really like Tevin Jenkins. I really like him out of Oklahoma State. Protect Ryan Fitzmagic this year. Protect whoever your future quarterback's going to be. This is a guy where he could go higher than 19. I think this is around the range he'll go. So if you're Washington, play it safe. Build the offensive line. Go with Jenkins right there. If you're the Chicago Bears, again, I have no clue what exactly they're going to be doing. They have Andy Dalton as their quarterback now. Now, I know there are talks of the Bears potentially going quarterback here, which I don't know why you would take, Kyle Trask, Kellen Mond, Davis Mills. I would not reach here at 20, so quarterback doesn't necessarily make sense. I kind of like going wide receiver. I know that they got Allen Robinson back this year, but aside from that, Anthony Miller hasn't lived up to expectations, and for the most part, they don't really have many good weapons for Andy Dalton, so give him a really good wide receiver. I love Rashad Bateman. I think he's a really good wide receiver prospect. I think this is a good spot for him to fall, so if you're the Bears, If Andy Dalton's who you're going to roll with, fine, so be it, but you might as well give him some really good weapons to throw to, so I got the Bears going with Rashad Bateman. All right, up next we have the Indianapolis Colts, and again, this seems like a fairly obvious move. You got to address the offensive line. This seems like a fairly easy move if you're the Colts. You got to address that offensive line. It's not going to be as strong, I think, as it has been in previous years, but there are some really, really good guys that they could go, whether it's Alex Leatherwood, Samuel Cosmi. I really do like Landon Dickerson a lot. I think he's a guy that can go this high, so it's just a matter of who do I think they go, and I think Alex Leatherwood, I really like that pick. I loved him at Alabama. Kind of shocked that he's so low on these rankings. I thought he'd be a bit higher. So again, if you're the Colts, it's a huge need. I don't see any cornerbacks or wide receivers that are worthy of going at this spot. Maybe if like Caleb Farley falls to 21, the Colts can take him with the 21st overall pick. So if Caleb Farley's on the board, I think that's the smartest pick. But if he's not, if he's off the board like he is in this mock, I got them going offensive line. Go with Alex Leatherwood. I really like him right there. Again, with the Titans, if Caleb Farley is somehow still sitting on the board at pick 22, you got to go him there. These cornerbacks that are sitting here, Greg Newsome, I think he's a solid prospect. I don't know if I'd take him at pick 22. I did like him at Northwestern, but he wasn't even the best defensive prospect at Northwestern last year. So again, I don't know if I'd reach him at 22. They did lose Corey Davis this offseason. I get that they still have A.J. Brown, who is, a potential top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, but I do think you should try to get Ryan Tannehill a few more weapons. There are some really good wide receivers that are still on the board right here. I get that you can get a guy in the second round, in the third round, but there's some really good guys here who potentially can be, a very, very solid wide receiver during the rookie season. And the guy I like the most out of, all these names that are listed here is Terrace Marshall. I really want him to fall to my Saints at pick 28. But I don't think he'll necessarily make it there. So I got the Titans going with Terrace Marshall Jr. You got the Jets sitting here at number 23, and they can go a variety of directions. Now, I know that it's not the sexy pick. It's not the, the smart pick that it seems like to be in years past now, where I know taking a running back in the first round seems like a kind of like a bad decision. But if you're the Jets, you're starting to build this team. You need a solid running back to go along with Zach Wilson. I think if you're the Jets, you can take a wide receiver early in the second round to really build the offense. But if you're the Jets, I think you really need a running back. I don't think that LaMichael Pirine is the answer at running back. I really don't. So if you can get a guy like Najee Harris, who I think is by far the best running back in this draft class, pair him with Zach Wilson. You already have a really good 1-2 combo. And just hope to build from there. Again, I get why people are hesitant to take a running back in the first round. There's a chance when the Jets are picking next, Najee Harris can still be on the board. But again, I think you really need to get a good running back there in New York to pair with Zach Wilson. And who better with, like I said, the best running back in my opinion in this draft class. So I got Najee Harris going to the Jets at 23, which, by the way, Najee Harris, I think he'd be a fantastic fit here for the Steelers at pick number 24. But obviously I got him off the board. If you're the Steelers, obviously cornerback, that's a need. And you really got to build the offensive line. You got to protect Big Ben, which I think is what they're going to do. Big Ben, what is he, 40 now or 39, something like that. So he's up there in age. You got to make sure he doesn't get hurt. You got to protect him at all costs. So yeah, I mean, if you're the Steelers, you got to protect Big Ben. I think it's a smart call. Samuel Cosmi, I really like him. When I did a mock, I think a month ago, whenever it was, I had him going late in the first round. I think he's a good pick there. He was great at Texas. Again, you got to protect Big Ben. So I got them going with Samuel Cosmi. Now we get to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're sitting here at 25 again. Their second pick of the first round. For me, they don't need a running back. They don't need a running back. I like James Robinson. I don't love him. I don't think he's their starting running back moving forward in the future. So, you know what? For the sake of this video, why not? I mean, the whole point is just to have fun with this. I don't think they're going to go this route. Get Travis Etienne. You got Trevor Lawrence as your quarterback. Give him his starting running back. They already have great chemistry together. And why not? Pair him with James Robinson. I think he'd be a great fit. I don't think Travis Etienne goes first round. If he does, it's going to be pick 30, 31, 32, maybe because a team trades up or just he goes to, the Bills, Ravens, Buccaneers for whatever reason. I don't think that necessarily happens. Again, this is a mock draft. This is me having fun. This is me just doing what I hope happens. And you can't tell me that Travis Etienne pairing him with Trevor Lawrence wouldn't be a fun time. Again, I think Etienne, I think he's a really good I think he's a really good running back prospect. Again, I like Najee Harris a bit better, but Travis Etienne going to Jacksonville, like I said, I don't think James Robinson is necessarily the answer moving forward with the organization. So get Travis Etienne, build him a Trevor Lawrence, and just continue to build this team. All right, so we have 7 more picks. We got the Cleveland Browns on the clock right now. This seems like an easy pick for me. They need an edge rusher. Jalen Phillips, I think, is by far the best available. There are some other guys here who you can make the case for, but Jalen Phillips, if he's sitting there at 26, this should be a no-brainer for the Browns. You got to take him there. The Baltimore Ravens, they're sitting here at pick number 27. They also got pick 31. There are reports that came out today that they really want to take a wide receiver with one of these 2 picks. So let's just knock it out of the way right now with a wide receiver. A matter of, again, there's some really good talent on the board here. I like Kadarius Toney. I think he's probably the next best after Terrace Marshall, who I had going, at pick 22. So I got them going with Kadarius Toney out of Florida with their first of 2 first-round picks that they got coming up. Up next now, we got my New Orleans Saints, and I think this is easy for them. I think they got to go with a wide receiver. But again, as I've said, all video, there's some really good wide receivers down here that you can get in the 2nd, the 3rd round. They also need a corner, which, Greg Newsome is still here on the board. I don't necessarily know how I feel about these other picks up here. So for the Saints, I really want them to go wide receiver. My dream scenario is that Rashad Bateman is still somehow sitting there at 28, or Terrace Marshall. Those are the 2 that I really want. I'd be fine with Kadarius Toney. I'd be fine with, some of these other names like Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore. But again, it's just for the sole reason that I think wide receivers are much deeper in this class than cornerbacks. So if you're the Saints and he's still sitting there, I think you got to make the pick with him there. All right, we got the Green Bay Packers picking at 29. So we'll go to quarterbacks right now. I like them taking Kellen Mond. I'm kind of half kidding with this because who knows what's going to happen. The Packers, they're going to mess this up somehow. They're going to take a position they absolutely don't need. But assuming that they're smart and they actually go in a direction of a player they need, I think they could really get another wide receiver. There's some solid options right here that I really like for them. Elijah Moore, he's a talent that I really, really like. He's a guy I would not be shocked if he slides up to this kind of mid-20s range or so. So I like him for the Packers. I like him there at pick 29. So I got the Packers going with Elijah Moore. But again, that's assuming that they don't take Kellen Mond with pick 29 right there. All right, we got 3 more picks to go. We got the Buffalo Bills. Again, they can use a corner. They can use an edge. They can also use a wide receiver. But I think defense is likely the direction they go. There's some really good edge rushers still on the board up here. There are some that I really, really like. So it's just a matter of, again, how do you value players? Where do you value players? I really like Aziz Ogilari from Georgia. I have seen some mocks that have him listed as an edge rusher, as also as a linebacker. So I'm not exactly certain where exactly the plan is for him to play at the NFL. Assuming he goes edge, which again, I think that's probably where he'll end up. If you're the Bills, I think he's a great pick here, Aziz Ogilari. So I got them going with him at 30, which brings us now back to the Baltimore Ravens. They're picking here now at 31. They already went wide receiver with pick 27. If they don't go wide receiver at pick 27, they're going to be going wide receiver here at pick 31. But since I already got them going wide receiver, I could see them going edge. And again, there are some really, really good players, still on the board here. But if I had to choose between all these, I really like Jason Owe. I really like him here. Again, you could go a number of directions with all the players that are still sitting here for the Ravens. But I think Jason Owe, I think he's a really, really good prospect. So I got them going with him there at pick 31, which brings us now to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're sitting here at pick 32. I have no clue what they're going to be doing. They brought back, every starter from their Super Bowl winning team. So there really isn't a huge need for the Buccaneers. I guess if they're going to go one route, maybe just go the offensive line, since you got to protect Tom Brady. He's your most important player on that team. So Landon Dickerson, he's sitting here still available at 32. Again, I have no clue what the Buccaneers are going to do. It seems like every other team we've made a pick for so far, there seems kind of like an obvious direction they really need to go in. So if I'm the Buccaneers, again, you got your entire team coming back, but again, get some depth, protect Tom Brady. Landon Dickerson's a really good talent, so we'll end the first round with Landon Dickerson out of Alabama. That wraps up our first round draft. Again, let's take a quick look at what exactly picks I made, in case you just want to take a look back and see how the draft folded out. Again, this draft is going to be nuts. This seems like one of the more exciting ones that we've had in recent memory, just because there are so many question marks in regards to what potentially can happen. What I'm looking forward to most, though, is just seeing what happens with the quarterbacks. I wouldn't be shocked if 5 quarterbacks go in the first 5 picks, assuming the Bengals trade out of 5. But I think for the most part, I think those 5 quarterbacks are going to go within the top 10 picks. Probably my guess is the top 8. But again, that's just my guess. Who knows what's going to happen, but I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of the mock draft. Again, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm just having fun. I'm just making picks based on what I think might happen. So don't go criticizing me for picking the wrong player for your team. This is all in good fun. Like I said, this is just to interact with you guys and hear your guys' thoughts. So drop a comment down below. Let me know who you think your team's going to take. Let me know where you think they're going to go. Let me know where you think the best landing spot is for them. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm going to be live on my channel doing a live stream this Thursday night, live during the draft. I'm probably going to be doing it an hour before the draft starts, so 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Again, I'll be talking a bunch of NFL draft stuff, all the latest trades, all the rumors, all the things revolving the quarterbacks and all the different picks and everything. We're going to be having guests on. We're going to be having draft experts on. We're going to be having players on. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. If you'd like to come on the show, talk about your team's pick, again, shoot me a DM on Twitter at Blake H. Harris or at Blake Harris TBLA. One of those two. Let me know you want to come on the show, and we're going to find a way to get you on the show. I want to talk to as many of you guys as possible. We might be doing some giveaways also, depending on how many people show up. So if you want to potentially win something, make sure you tune into the show this Thursday night. Again, we're going to be starting right about 7 p.m. Eastern, an hour before the draft, and we're going to be going multiple hours during the draft. Again, sharing our reactions, sharing our thoughts, and interacting with all of you guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to see as many of you guys there. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I post a lot of great college football content here, so if you're a college football fan, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications so you don't miss another video. If you can give this video a thumbs up, if you guys can drop a comment, it helps the algorithm, it helps the channel grow. I would really appreciate it as well. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see all of you guys in my next video.